Today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. I recently joined as a member, and you can too. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with the advertisers that fit your audience. That's podgo.co at podgo.co.
And please put unprofessional development in the "How did you hear about Podgo?" That will give us a little finder's fee. Thank you. So, how is this going to work?
I think the best... So do you want to decide that now, or do you want to press record and then figure it out?
Well, I already pressed record, so we're figuring it out, and we're going. So, hey, boys and girls, say hello to Disco.
Hello, Tudisco.
This is the Georgies. So you clicked on some episode that says the Georgies, and this is our, because if you don't know why we called it the Georgies, then you need to go back and you need to listen, because we George is our, the patron saint of, unprofessional development, basically.
Yes. Not St. George. St. Georgie.
St. Georgie. Yes.
Right.
Yes. No dragon slaying here or whatever else. I don't know what St. George
Limited
did.
amounts of dragon slaying. Like, if a dragon appears, I'm not going to, say we will refuse to slay it.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes, I do. Oh. Bad pun that I would always use.
Oh, no.
Basically, when I would verbally bully my students, because that's what I do,
Right.
I would say, you know what? Santa calls me up when he needs a sleigh.
The one I use, and it's getting out of fashion to the point that my kids are getting it, so...
The reference is old, yeah.
Right.
That's what sucks. Being a teacher, you gotta come up with new references all the time with these stupid young'uns. Anyway, go ahead.
But I used to tell them, hey, listen, make like a McDonald's drive-thru and cash me outside.
Nice!
They hated it. Oh, cringeworthy. That's probably one of the most cringeworthy things.
I really did this. Some kid was literally just talking smack to me. You know what I mean? And I don't even know how he even started. He was just giving me a hard time. And I'd known him for a while, but he was not successful academically in my class. And he's like, Mr. Mealey, da-da-da-da-da, and you da-da-da-da, and you da-da, and he's like, I don't know what he was making fun of me in some way or another. And I go, catch me at summer school. Oh, boy. Oh, and the whole class is like,
oh yeah,
there's an obvious winner here. I'm like, don't mess with me. This is my class. You know what I mean?
Right.
You think you're funny? Whatever. Like, don't
come into my house.
Yeah. I know you're learning how to be funny, but I've been talking smack for way longer than you, and so I'm ready to go. So
it's like someone heckling the stand-up comic. The one with the mic wins.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so the Georgie. So it is. We are approaching the new year.
Yep.
And we figured we would just wrap up our amazing year.
Yes.
Of podcastery.
Yes.
Assorted podcastery by giving out some notable awards.
Yeah. So have we come up with categories for the awards yet?
I think we should do that the most unprofessional way possible, retroactively.
Okay, so we'll just make up categories as we go along?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to do this in draft format. I think we should all pick our top 5 each.
Okay. It's a clip show, boys and girls, a clip show. Can we get Abed to say it's a clip show? Can you please find that? Put that in here and there somewhere.
Let's do a clip show. Bottle episode. Don't forget the clip show.
Okay, cool. That's your job.
Just going full community?
Yes. Yeah, so it's a clip show. Yes, not a bottle episode. Definitely. Okay. All of our episodes are bottle episodes, by the
way. Especially during a pandemic.
Yes. Yeah. So we're just going to pick moments, it sounds like. I think this is kind of like what I'm gathering. We're going to pick moments from this season, and then we're just going to pick our top 5, and then we will bestow upon them some type of best this or most this for that moment. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh, then that's what I'm thinking too. We're thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Twinsies.
Yes.
All right, so would you like to begin our draft by picking an episode?
Yes, the obvious one. So the obvious one, boys and girls, a coup de grace, if you will. The inimitable, which I don't even know what that word means, but I think it means that you can't be imitated, and lots of people do imitate him. So I don't know. Is he inimitable? I don't know.
He's not mittable. I wouldn't mit him easily.
Tony Danza was on our podcast.
When I want rain, I get sunny weather. I'm just as blue as the sky. Since love is gone, can't pull myself together. Yes, I'll hang my tears out to dry.
Oh,
You know, that kind of thing.
That's awesome.
awesome. Oh,
Yes, my
okay. So maybe this time I can convince you to sing the theme song, Tony. Okay? I don't know.
Keep pushing, Mealey.
I'm gonna keep pushing it. Okay. We nominate that award the best. How about most emotional explanation of being a first-year teacher?
Nice. And let me tell you, it's got some competition.
Yes, it does. It does.
Supportive for the most part. And I tell you the truth, it may be something that would be a good idea for first-year teachers.
Mm-hmm.
To have somebody with them, because it's not easy that first year.
Yes.
You know, I mean, just the bookkeeping alone. I mean, you remember, you what is it? You have to document everything.
Oh, God.
Anyway, we'd have these postmortems in the alumni room. So I go in, and he has a desk there, and I sit next to his desk, and we go through it. And he says, what do you think? I said, I don't know. I was like, I thought I had it going. He said, listen, I really think I'm hearing too much of you and not enough of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a lightning bolt. I was like, oh, of course. What am I thinking? Because, you're so annoyed with this image of the teacher standing at the blackboard lecturing. It's
right.
Like, you got to get them to think. You got to get them to take part in it. So I said, great. It was great. I thought, oh, what a great idea. And I was still bummed out. And he said to me, look, remember this. And this was so great about David and so great about teaching. He said, tomorrow you're going to get another chance.
There you go.
That's what teaching gives you. It gives you another chance tomorrow. So be ready for tomorrow. And you're right, David. Yeah, that's right. What was I thinking? And I went to get up. And I got about 3 inches off the seat, and he wasn't even looking at me. He was looking at a paper, and he went, did you cry yet? When he said, did you cry yet? I totally dissolved. I mean, I started to sob. And I was so embarrassed that I ran out into the hallway. And, of course, in the hallway, it was like 100 kids and 6 teachers.
No.
What killed me was, everybody, what's going on? Because I was literally sobbing as I walked by them. What struck me was really funny. I think some of the kids felt bad for me. But the teachers were like, now he knows.
There you go.
Welcome to the club.
Sympathy.
Yeah.
Nothing,
Welcome to teaching, Mr. Hollywood. Yeah.
Exactly. Now you know, you banana.
Yes. Okay.
That was a really great interview. And I loved it not just because, oh, look, it's Tony Danza, but also because everything he was talking about, I'm like, yes, that was my first year teaching.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
That's what really is really cool. Is like, it does not matter if you are Tony Danza, Barack Obama, whoever. If you teach in a school for 1 year, there's going to be a lot of things that you have in common with everyone else who has taught for 1 year in school. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So that means it is now your turn to nominate a cool moment.
It is. Okay, so I'm going to go with, I think, honestly, one of my favorite recordings of this year was the 2 Dope Teachers.
Okay, awesome. Good choice. Good choice.
Thank you. So the episode, which was lovingly dubbed 4 Dope Teachers.
Yes.
FOR.
Yes.
That's Oscar Wilde, like wordplay for you.
Yes,
so thank you, Mealey, for coming up with that one.
Thank you. You're welcome. Whatever, something. Bon appetit.
I'm definitely other French things.
Yes.
So I'm definitely going to pick that one, not only because it was the creation, that was the premiere, the birth of the amazing game that Mealey invented.
Yes, I did. That I've changed anyway, but yes.
Of teacher, colleague, admin.
Yes.
Let's go NBA big man.
Okay. So you have to make one of them your admin, you have to make one of them your student, and you have to make one of them your colleague. Okay? You've got Shaq, Duncan, and Hakeem.
Ah!
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So who's the admin?
My admin is Shaq. Because Shaq doesn't know anything. Do y'all ever so TNT had this wonderful sketch, and it was like Shaq and Barkley. Between the two of them, you're kind of like, do y'all know anything about the NBA? But I love them because it's just like listening to guys at the barbershop talk about basketball.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's the best thing about it.
There was this competitive sketch between the two of them that was called "Who He Play For." Barkley doesn't know who anybody plays for in the NBA. It's amazing. So anyway, Shaq would be my principal, my admin.
Uh-huh.
Duncan would be my student.
Okay.
Because he does everything exactly the way it's supposed to be done.
He's going to bring up your test scores for real.
He's going to bring up your test scores overnight. He's going to make all your exemplars. He is going to just be technically proficient with everything. He's going to be very matter of fact about it. Hakeem Olajuwon is going to be my colleague because, to me, your colleague needs to be somebody who can bring it and who you'll learn from. Like whatever the pedagogical drop step is, that's what I want to learn from Hakeem. But Shaq is my admin. I feel like we need to have some memes out there, some Photoshop stuff. That's great.
Principal Shaq.
Shaq.
Cool.
But in that podcast, we laughed about so much.
Yes.
I laughed my way through that entire podcast.
Yes. So can you think of one, what clip should we play from that episode?
There was a moment when, oh God, what did they say that was having me crying?
Oh man, teaching hip hop as the focus of the course, as opposed to just, hey, so we're going to do a paired text with Langston Hughes and Paulk. It's different. And, so you have to interrogate all of your assumptions. You have to interrogate your assumptions about what appropriate language is in a classroom. You have to interrogate your assumptions about kids who speak out of turn, because all hip hop has ever been is an entire genre of music that speaks out of turn. Right.
Right.
And so we kind of got into it, and one of my students suggested, hey, you should make us perform a song we like. And, and Kevin will tell you, our kids are hard workers. They like to be nerds. And they really don't like having people watch them do things.
That's right.
It's like I had a kid drop my class once, before they even showed up, because they heard that they might have to speak in front of people, right? and so I was like, all right, let's do it. Yeah, you don't have to be great, just 30 seconds and do this stuff. And I was thinking to myself, this could be really problematic, because I put no limitations on what song they could pick. I put no limitations on what they could do with profanity and stuff like that. And I definitely didn't have a plan B if anybody didn't want to do it. Right. And so it was one of those things where I kind of went out on this limb, and really the turning point, and I still question my choice of doing this. But I had a young man and a young woman perform, Bodak Yellow. And that's intense. That's Cardi.
And I have no idea what that is. So again,
it's Cardi B, and Cardi B is.
Yes, I know who Cardi B is.
She's got the new hot track WAP.
Yes, I do know that.
I'm not going to go into what the acronym
No,
because then you'll have to click that little E on when you upload it.
Yeah.
You can look it up on Urban Dictionary, teacher.
I think it has something to do with working towards academic progress.
Yes. That's it.
That's definitely what it is.
So you're familiar with the play it in PD. It'd be like, here's what we're going to be doing this year.
Yeah, exactly.
I wrote the words. I rewrote the words. Working towards academic progress.
So what was interesting was
So what was interesting, we really have to do that, actually. All of us have to just, we need to commit to doing that. I came up with a thing. Everybody picks it out. And then we have to talk about how we have to actually talk about this in front of kids, because it's important that kids know,
Yes.
what our focus is.
So we're working towards academic progress. Can that be the
You
theme
just write
for
it
the
on
year?
the board. This year, they'd be like, Mister,
Yeah.
Mister.
They're like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?"
I'm gonna dub this the 2020 Georgie of best episode where I nearly peed myself.
Awesome. Oh, I thought you were going to go the easy one and just say dopest moment. Yeah. Or dopiest moment, yes. Yes. Anyway, cool. The almost pee. So, I am going to go, and it's tough because I'm very full of myself. I was actually talking to someone recently, and even though
That's how amazing you are.
Yeah, this conflicts with both someone who believes in the Big Bang Theory, whether you're a creationist who believes that the Earth is like 3,000 years old. I fly in the face of all of those, and then I'm pretty sure that the universe was created about 51 years ago just so it could revolve around me. So, I'm pretty sure about that. But that's my theory anyway. But so when we had on Professor Science, which I think was the first recording that we could use, the episode which shall not be named is the other recording. But
you're gonna have to read the blog that may or may not exist in order to find out about that episode.
Exactly. So so the two, I don't know which one of the stories, because I love his story, and I guess we'll go with his story about the science experiment gone wrong.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about that.
What we want to know is, tell us about an experiment that's gone wrong, or some kind of lab where it went sideways, whether you were teaching or whether you were teaching teachers. And this was the plan, and then all of a sudden somebody's face was on fire, or anything that was amuse us.
Because running labs, like the level of preparation, but also like the risk there,
Right.
It's much higher than I'll handle. Like,
True. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
in my class, their pencils could break. That's about as
They could write a naughty word.
They could write a
naughty
They
word.
could write a naughty word on a desk, on a chair, on somebody else's.
and they do.
And they do.
Yes.
Yes. It would it had to be the high school when I was teaching biology, and we were doing a yeast lab, carbon dioxide.
Those are words.
Yes. A yeast lab, and so I had forgotten to get the hydrogen peroxide. So you use hydrogen peroxide, you use yeast, right? And you mix the two.
And then what happens?
And they give off oxygen.
And how do you know that? Does it blow up like a balloon or something, or you light on
It does
fire?
give off like bubbles, but then you take a little splint and you can light it and then blow out the fire, and it still has embers, and then put it in there, and it lights back up.
Nice.
Right? It lights back up. So it's really cool.
There's so much oxygen.
There's so much oxygen being given off. Yeah.
Feeds the fire.
It feeds the fire. There we go. See, science. High school Mealey science teacher. Way to
Thank
go.
you.
You got that. Well, I had forgotten to get the hydrogen peroxide from the store, right? Because you can get that from,
CVS.
Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, whatever.
Yes.
And so
all of them sponsoring this podcast now. Get your hydrogen peroxide at the CVS. They've got the best hydrogen peroxide.
We name dropped it. That's cut.
So unprofessional development when you buy the hydrogen peroxide at CVS. Just to see what happens.
Just to see what happens.
Get a crooked look from Linda behind the counter.
So I came in.
Tell them you'll be using it for fire. They'll love it.
Tell them you love Breaking Bad.
There you go. Exactly.
There we go.
Right? There you go. So I went and got some out of the chemical storage closet. Hydrogen peroxide.
Right.
All in brown
store
bottles.
chemicals.
Good place to store chemicals, hydrogen peroxide. And hydrogen peroxide in the normal basis, it's harmless.
Right.
I mean, harmless.
Yeah. I gave it to my dog to make her throw up a sock one time.
A sock?
Yeah, she swallowed a
Your
sock.
dog eats everything.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, me too.
But have you ever been given hydrogen peroxide
to throw up a sock?
Throw up a sock.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not that I remember.
Not right, exactly.
Yes.
So I went and got it, and we were doing
Why did I video that? I I mean, you get podcasts. I mean, you're too famous with the dog.
There we go.
Sock.
That would have been a great YouTube
Interrupting the
moment.
story,
Yeah,
Mealey.
back to the story.
Mealey.
Sorry.
Being
It's
bad
all right.
listeners.
It's
We're bad
okay.
students.
It happens.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So I bring it and we're doing the lab, and they are, of course, I don't have them wearing gloves, right? Because hydrogen peroxide.
It's skin safe. Yeah.
It's skin safe. Well, all of a sudden, my students start noticing there are white spots on their fingers.
Nice.
And so they're like, Professor Science, like, you know, what? At that time, I was Mr. Science.
Yeah.
I hadn't actually gotten the PhD.
Professor, yes.
Yes, Mr. Science. Why are our hands turning white? Right?
It's never a good question.
Never a good question.
It's not you're gaining superpowers. That's definitely not.
No, this is not a
Did you make a
Spider-Man
Michael
moment.
Jackson
This is not a
reference at the time?
Spider-Man moment. I didn't, but one of my kids might have.
Nice.
Why not, right?
Right.
And so all the kids are experiencing this. I'm like, what's happening? Also, at the same time, because when you use hydrogen peroxide bought from the store, you can actually tell a difference in, like, because they're crushing up yeast versus, like, so powdered yeast versus regular granular yeast, right? And so you can actually tell the difference in the amount of oxygen being given off. But today, in that lesson, things were going like gangbusters. I mean, the bubbles were coming out of the tube. And I was like, what the heck is happening? Like, it never happens like this. And so I'm really confused because, of course, the data they're getting, they're like, everything's the same. Everything's the same, right? And I'm like, oh, this is terrible. So then, like, they're still like, Professor Science, our hands are starting to burn. They're starting to burn. And I'm like, what is going on? And so I'm like, guys, you're fine. You're totally good. Like, it's hydrogen there's nothing we're dealing with here, right? That is,
nothing corrosive.
Professor Science is ignoring the data.
Ignoring the data.
30 hands that
The
are on
bubbles,
fire.
right? The oxygen being released, the 30 hands that are burning.
It's like a Dora the Explorer episode. It's like, oh, wait a second.
Light bulb. So then I look at the hydrogen peroxide I got out of the chemical storage closet. And I realized it is like 90%.
Nice.
90%.
As opposed to from CVS?
As opposed to like, I think it's like 2%. Yes, 2% hydrogen peroxide.
Yes.
And so.
That means it's 48 times as strong or something like that.
No, math.
Yes, there we go.
Math connection. So then I realize I
have endangered
my kids.
Yes.
I've endangered my kids. I did not dilute this, right? Because I'm just thinking hydrogen peroxide. I was a new teacher.
Yeah. Everybody wash your hands for the next, till we leave, till the bell rings.
So that's what I said.
Put your hands in baking soda and don't move.
Put your hands in that yeast, guys. Put your hands in that yeast. No. And so I had to tell them to wash your hands, right? But I didn't.
Don't touch your face.
I didn't tell them.
Don't touch your eye.
About the hydrogen peroxide. I just said, guys, sometimes, once I realized what was going on, sometimes this happens. Because let's be honest.
We don't want them going home.
We don't want
Mom.
No, right? I was like, it'll be gone by the time you leave school today, right?
This is totally normal.
This is totally
the flight
normal.
attendant.
Yes, the flight attendant, right?
Yeah, no, it normally bucks like that.
Exactly. This is just turbulence. It's just a little bit of turbulence. That's just a little, first degree burn. Right? That's all that is. Yeah.
Was there any fallout?
No fallout. No,
Nice.
I get no calls from parents.
Nice.
Good.
This is probably my department chair's first time she listens to this. First time hearing about that. I didn't tell a soul. I didn't tell a soul about that.
No.
Gotta get in front of those things. Mealey and I have these arguments all the time.
There we go. There we go.
That's awesome. And then if you've got time, the practical joke that my brother, who has not been on the podcast, pulled on his chemistry teacher as well. So that's also in that episode. My brother is a jokester, kind of like me. One of the things that hopefully you're teaching your teachers is don't walk out of the classroom. Okay? Especially...
Like stay in the classroom.
Yeah, it's a good practice.
It's a good practice.
You need an adult in the room.
Yes.
One.
Especially when kids are doing a lab.
Very true. Exactly. Don't leave them unattended.
My brother, this is back in the day. I don't think they have it in high schools anymore. When we went to high school, back a long time ago, there was we had lab tables.
Yes.
And there was gas run to the lab tables for Bunsen burners.
Yes, they still got those.
They still do have those?
Well, they had some back when I was teaching.
Okay, I think they've kind of gone away from that a little bit, maybe. Maybe my brother's a little bit to blame. I don't know.
Probably so.
So
it's probably a calls.
The teacher,
what's his name?
The teacher left.
Really calls.
The teacher left, right? I don't know where the teacher went.
Okay.
And why they left.
There we go.
But they were gone long enough for my brother to hatch this plan.
It only takes a minute. It only takes a couple of seconds.
He says, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the gas thing that opens up, that's closest to the door, and we're going to open it up long enough so when you walk in the door, it smells like gas. It won't be like all through the room on a dangerous level, but when you first walk in, you'll smell gas.
You know, I like that he said dangerous level. He's thinking.
We are all going to lay on the floor like we're unconscious.
That's honestly amazing.
Yes, it is. It is.
So the teacher comes in.
You could write that into a college application, I would say.
The teacher comes in, smells gas, there's 25 people on the floor.
No!
Yes.
No!
Oh, she screams! Runs out of the room!
No! Again! Runs out again!
But then what do you do once you like scream and realize you have to go like, but they're like, now I can't go run and tell somebody.
No, I've killed 20 kids. Oops. I don't think there's any hiding that. Right?
We're just gonna close the door.
It's gonna close the door.
Oh my
goodness.
Yeah, you just get in your car and you leave. You run away. You never come back.
At that point, you just pull out the maps and find out how close is the Mexican border.
There you go. Exactly,
my
right?
goodness.
And I mean, make a drive
reset.
for it. Exactly.
I do not know.
Way to go, brother. That was a great...
I don't know.
Because all it takes is 1 minute for you to leave the classroom for them to go, wait a second, I'm a teenager. I should be making a bad decision
Exactly.
right now.
Turn on the gas. Turn on the gas and lay out.
Yeah. So would that be like a mad science award?
So, sure. Well, it's obviously the Nobel Prize for science podcasting. Or the Nobel George, whatever. The Nobel Georgie, I don't know.
The Nobel Georgie.
Thank you.
For the most noble moment.
Quite noble. Yes. Hey, unprofessionals. This here's another one of them there commercials. Okay. It's for a good friend, Alex Pimental. Yeah, he used to be a math teacher. Now he does taxes. Okay? You want your taxes done by a math teacher. You want to make sure it's done right. Just like those other things you have math teachers do when you struggle with. Have a math teacher do your taxes. Or if you are a math teacher and you just don't feel like doing it, you just send it on to him. Alright? His prices are reasonable, starting at $75. He can do all 50 states. I live in Arizona, but I work in Oklahoma. Okay? Who are you, King Tut? But anyway, sorry, Steve Martin fans. But... Well, it's an old reference. Going back to the 70s for some of you guys. You want to get your taxes done, but you don't feel like doing them. So you go to PimentalGarcia.com. The connection's in the show notes down there. You just go down to the show notes, you click on that, it takes you to the website, you connect with Alex there. He does your taxes for you, gets them done lickety-split. Alright? So that's what you need to do. So thank you guys. Thank you for supporting a teacher who is trying to go out and get a little business started. We appreciate you. And now, back to the wonderful show.
All right, so
it's your pick.
I'm ready.
Okay.
We have had on throughout this year a lot of guests with big Twitter followings and who have their own podcasts and a lot of other big things too. But one of my favorite conversations was actually just with a friend of ours named Paulk.
Yes.
The Paulk conversation, I really enjoyed. He and I just have very, very similar philosophies and sense of humor. And that's another one that cracked me up. But that one definitely wins for the funniest story, like involving a student. Like the funniest student story, I think, was that one.
Oh, I mean, just... I wish there was video of it, because it just sounds... That's the one, like, in my mind, that, like, we've had a lot of good, funny stories, but that one just lends itself to, like, just like the, you know, just the imagination of just picturing that happening is just unbelievable. So
there was this one kid. His name was Shuby. It was his nickname. I don't remember his real name because we all went. Everybody had a street name, and we just called him the street name.
Shuby.
Yeah, Shuby was this kid's name. A little skinny kid, had a mouth on him though. Like he was the smallest kid in class by far, but ran his mouth like nobody's business. Mm-hmm. And we were playing touch football in the gym, and I threw him like just a beautiful pass. Like he was full stride. He was a little quick guy. Full stride, went right in between his arms. Oh. And I was like, "What happened, Shuby?" Because he was talking all this smack about how good he was. Mm-hmm. He goes, "You didn't throw it hard enough."
Oh boy!
Oh, what?
Here we go, Shuby.
Hard enough. That's
wrong answer.
And so it was so. I was like,
I feel like I'm ahead of you in this story, but go on.
And I was like, "All right, everybody, we're gonna execute the same play. I'm throwing Shuby the football." And so I was like, "Let's do it again. We're gonna run it again." And so he runs it, and he turns, and he was right in the end zone. I stepped back, threw it as hard as I could. The most beautiful spiral I've ever thrown in my life. He raised his hand, and they got about halfway up, square in the chest. They hit him so hard in the chest with this football. Leveled him. Oh, my God. And I was like, not hard enough?
Nice.
He didn't have time to react. I bet I threw an 80-mile-an-hour football.
Woo, boy.
Straight lasered me.
How long before he could breathe?
He jumped up as fast as he could. It's like, oh, okay.
All right.
It was like you could tell he was trying hard not, like his lip was quivering a little bit.
Oh!
I could have got fired, I'm sure, but it was worth it.
And how did the other young boys and girls, what was their reaction?
Oh, it was, imagine Chris Tucker from Friday and Debo. It was pretty much like that. He got all up in his face. It was the best. Oh I still, like, if I'm having a rough day, that's like in my repertoire of make me smile again.
So, yes, I'm going to give that the Georgie Golden Football Award.
Okay. Oh, that one. I thought you were talking about the fire safety one.
Fire safety one.
We had this one kid who started doing drugs really bad. I swear he was doing acid when he was in my classroom one day. Mm-hmm. I'm in the middle of a lesson. I don't even know what I was teaching at this point. I think we stopped lesson that day. And he jumps up and he goes, "I got him!" And then he just like starts running around the classroom, grabs a fire extinguisher, sprays himself in the face.
Oh my God!
Dives out the window and runs into the woods.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what just happened? This all happened in like 30 seconds. Wow. I'm like, and you carry the two, and then, whoa, what just happened? There's like fire extinguisher smoke everywhere, and he's out the window. And I'm like, so back to carrying the two.
Because what do you do then?
Do I call the custodians?
I was like, I don't know what just happened. This is my first year of teaching. I was like, this is what teaching's like? I don't remember this when I was in school.
My goodness.
I must have been sick that day. Like,
yes, it's all safety related.
So this will be the Golden Flaming Football Award.
There we go. The Golden Flaming
going to
Football.
our Paulk podcasts.
Yes.
We've had almost 50 podcasts this year.
Yes.
And we can only choose the 10.
I know. It's tough. So, I mean, obviously if you're listening to this and you're seeing all these wonderful things, then you just need to go back and you need to download and listen to any of the ones you haven't. So I am going to name this the Georgie Fanboy Award, because even when I listen back to it, I still get a little, as Mike Myers said back in like his SNL days, verklempt. Okay. So when I had Niemann on, who just was a mentor of mine, and I guess still is a mentor of mine, and I got to just tell her what an influence she had on me. And so just as an aside, by the way, boys and girls, if you are a relatively new teacher, here's what you need to do. Find 2 or 3 teachers that have been doing it for 8-10 years and make them your mentor, and they don't even need to know that they are your mentor. Just lock onto them and keep asking them questions and have them help you. And so she really, she makes me cry, Miss Niemann does. So I fanboyed over her. My first year teaching, you actually conducted what would be some unprofessional development. The school where we were teaching together had grown really big in 1 year. So they hired like so many teachers, and there were 10 or 12 of us, maybe more, who was our first year teaching, all at the same school. So I don't know how you got administrative approval to do this or what you sold them on. But we were told we were going to go to this meeting, and it was for first year teachers. And we get there, and it's all us first year, like, bright-eyed, bushy-tail, like, all, like, deer in the headlights teachers, along with 5 or 6 veteran teachers who basically said, hey,
oh yeah,
you've been in some trainings here, and you've been fed a whole bunch of stuff. But let us tell you what it's really like to be a teacher.
There was the handful of us were asked to come in and give the real version.
So they were actually told to do that.
They told
that was
us.
actually the directive.
The AP said, they've been all this training, but I think it would be good for them to hear from veteran teachers who do a good job about what it's really like.
Yeah.
So you did a Scared Straight program for teachers.
Quite like that. It was
so
more
a couple takeaways from that.
Expect.
The one that made a whole lot of sense, that I still think would be a really good idea. They said there should be some kind of like a program for spouses of first-year teachers.
Support group.
A support group where they had spouses of first-year teachers. They could go and talk about what it was like to be married or to be the significant other of a first-year teacher, because it's very challenging, because their significant other keeps coming home and telling them you don't understand. Like, that's only the words that you're going to say.
Because you become like an abandoned spouse, I think is what we refer to it as. Or something like that.
You're completely obsessed, and everything takes you so much longer than it will take you once you get better at it.
How were you there till 8 o'clock at night? School ended at 2.
Yes, what are you doing?
Don't understand.
Yes. Why does it take you 4 hours?
It's because the printer's possessed by the devil, and I had to print out just this section of the paper, but not the rest. So I had to cut it out and glue it on, and it made perfect sense.
Yes.
I unplugged and plugged back in the scan machine yesterday 8 times before I finally got it to scan one test. And then I couldn't get it to do it again. I gave up. I almost threw it.
Or I was rethinking the first 10 minutes of my lesson yesterday for 2.5 hours because I wanted to start it off just right. And I was changing the wording of this question or this, I wanted my PowerPoint slide to do all these fancy things. And then you realize, okay, here's what's needed and here's what's not. But in that, you told a story of a student and you said, I have no idea what I said to that student or what I did. But they said to me, because of you and how you taught this class, I'm moving to Africa next year.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Maybe it was because the emotion of the beginning of the year.
You teach science.
And literally...
But it's environmental, so we do a lot of global stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense then.
But the way you shared it, and I'm a goofy guy, but I was literally doing all I could not to cry. Because I get like emotionally worked up right now. Because it reminds me that even though we make jokes and we say funny stuff and it is ridiculous, like, we have the opportunity and things we say off the cuff, or maybe because we actually care about them, young people are making life decisions based on a sentence that came out of our mouth.
I had this year the first day of school with one of my classes. I was telling them what to expect in the class and all this, and I kind of jokingly turned and I was like, you have no idea. For some of you, today is the first day of your destiny. And I said it, and when I said it, it's like the gravity of it hit all at once. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, crap. And you've always, right, as a teacher, we always know that the kids walk in your room and you never know. When I train new teachers, one of the things I always say is, you're not always going to be good at your job. Just don't suck so much that you get in the way of someone's destiny.
Right.
Because I think we're all born with a talent. We're all born with something that is our destiny. And, how many people are 40, 50 years old and they're like, God, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. And it's like, well, maybe, what if your path had been obstructed by a crappy teacher?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, because, you can have days where you're unsuccessful, but we can't be a detriment.
Right, exactly. And, I had a kid last year who, she's now majoring in something that's directly a result of my class. I told her about a program at a school, and she was thinking she wanted to do one thing, and she kind of modified it into this. It's still very much roughly in the same field. But she said to me, I had no idea at the beginning of the year this is what I'd be doing.
Right.
And it was like, wow, that, thank God I didn't get in the way for destiny.
So,
that's still honestly one of my favorite episodes.
Yes.
She just has so much wisdom and so much heart.
Yes, she does. Yes,
Niemann corrects me up.
She does.
All right.
So how many do I have now? So I've got...
You got 3 and I got 2.
Okay.
I think I'm going to pick as... All right. Still one of my favorite episodes because it answered a lot of questions I always had. It made me feel a whole lot better, and it was just a really fun, calm conversation. Was when we talked about JUVIE.
Okay, cool.
Teaching it in juvenile hall.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all the stories from that, and it was just a very unique insight.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that a lot of people may not even ever think about, but the moment it pops in your head, you realize, man, that's fascinating.
Yes. Inside of the grand calling of being a teacher, there's so many doors where, some people are called to more than one of them, and some people, it's like, there's just this little specific nook and cranny of teaching that you are called to. Whether it be EC, whether it be elementary, whatever it be, there you go. But to be called to teach in JUVIE is a definitely thing, and it's awesome to know that she was truly called, and that she's very, very happy with doing it.
When it comes to kickball, it's a known fact that there's a force of gravity around my face.
Nice.
I am off.
Oh no.
No matter where I'm standing. And it's not like they're trying. It just always happens. And they know, and they warn the new kids, watch out, try not to hit Cerise in the face with the ball. And that's just...
And you're wearing glasses now, so do you take them off when you go to kickball?
Sometimes it kind of protects me to have them there.
Okay.
I don't know. It's like a weekly thing. It's just this running joke that I'm going to get hit
in the face. Oh my goodness.
No, I would tell the kids that if they could kick the ball over the back fence, that I would get them a milkshake from this fast food joint across the street. And man, they would try so hard to kick these balls over the fence. I've only, in the 8 or 9 years that I was in and out of juvenile hall, I think I've only bought 2 milkshakes for kids who have kicked it way over the fence. It's a big deal. It's like an ongoing thing. So if a sub comes in and everything, they're like, "Are you gonna buy us a milkshake if we get it over the wall?" Because these kids work for treats. I mean that is a huge.
And when it hits mid wall, I'm gonna guess they're really frustrated at that point, huh? And when they get really close.
And there's barbed wire on the top of it, so if it hits the wire and doesn't go over, it just kills the ball. That's the end of the game.
Oh, that's sad. Yes. Oh.
And then nobody likes Jimmy for kicking it over.
No, you ruined it. Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good stuff.
For a while.
So I'm going to give the Golden Deflated Dodgeball Award.
Okay.
For episode 20 of Talking JUVIE.
So the chances of her listening to this episode is really slim. So I'm going to kind of share something related to that. So,
are you going to talk about Oprah again?
No, not Oprah.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to talk about the Blood Ninja. Okay. Okay. So her brother is known as the Blood Ninja. And I know him from, if you go back to some of our early episodes, we talked to a lot of people that I met on Quora. And so I met him on Quora, and he introduced me to his sister. But some of the things that the some of the things that the Blood Ninja has done is he was a background dancer in a Madonna video. he will not disclose, but he definitely sold drugs to multiple people who have made more than like $30 million to make a movie. He went to audition to be in the WWE or some other professional wrestling branch of that, in which case he witnessed somebody cut off the finger of somebody else due to some it was basically someone had been infidelitous. The person with the knife, it was his wife, and the person that lost a finger was, and this is all in like a WWE like gym where they learn how to become stuff like that. And he also was at that time, John Cena put him in some kind of like crazy hole, because when you first audition for WWE, the first thing they have to do is see how flexible you are being put in like just ridiculous holds. So I'm trying to think other things that the Blood Ninja has done, but there's more to it.
There's a whole ballad in there somewhere.
Right. So, and then of course it's how much of this really happened when I talked to his sister, and how much of it is like stuff that he's made up. And she's like, I don't think he's even 100% sure. So I actually had conversations with him in which he talked to me about when he would go to therapy, and they would either not know what to do with him, and they were either convinced he was either a pathological liar or that he should be institutionalized. And so, and it's not really sure. So anyway, that's my Blood Ninja story. And at one point, he was supposed to give us assistance with our theme song and put a backbeat to the theme song, and that never manifested itself. So anyway, we still love you, Blood Ninja.
Well, he gave us something.
No, that was somebody else.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because the Blood Ninja got kicked out of his house and he was temporarily homeless, and he didn't have his sound recording equipment, and then he traveled across the United States to detox with someone else who I'm also friends with on Quora, who's a very interesting character as well. And I don't know what's going on. So I'll put a link to him somewhere in the show notes and his Quora stuff, and it's you could just read more and more stuff for itself. I'm forgetting stuff, but it's all equally as ridiculous as the stuff you've already heard. So he doesn't win a Georgie Award, but he's like a honorable mention, I guess, or something. Did you actually pick what was the actual award for the teaching in Juvie that you gave her, or do you have do you know what moment you might want to?
Dodgeball award.
There's another Dodgeball award. Okay,
but
the other was football.
Flaming football.
That's right.
This one's Deflated Dodgeball. She has so many good stories at the moment there. Like not just the funny ones, like just everything there was just so fascinating.
Yes,
I was entranced that entire conversation. The entire time I was just sitting there going, so like, what is that like?
Yes. So are you going to do it? Are you going to teach in Juvie?
No. I think being an astronaut's fascinating too. I ain't locking myself in that thing. No, sir.
Okay. Thank you, and stay unprofessional. Stay unprofessional. Stay unprofessional.